Quinton is an average Joe whose job's a piece of cake. Reusing this intro cause it took some time to make. Down the hall into his room, starts running instantly. Then his hard work and sweat makes him just incense. For in reality, he is a reviewer, subpar reviewer.
Beards and flannel misquoted comic panels.
Reviewer, subpar reviewer. Really mad, polite, scat, evil dad, big rad.
Fair use, for abuse, Saigon Blues, tempting moves, Frosty Skates, Norman Bates, long drive, cut the brakes!
Reviewer, subpar reviewer. You'll waste at least 10 minutes right here. It's Quinton Reviewer.
There are too many traditions in the Reviews household to even count when it comes to the holidays. Every year, we put up 1 billion decorations, we get all excited, we sit around the bonfire, and then we wait until mid-January to finally let the celebrations begin. But my favorite thing of all to do is to look back into my own past and to find something that I feel like really represents the core of the holiday. Not just of Christmas itself, but of what I love about the world and humanity. So I figured a good starting place was Drake Bell.
About 7 months ago, I reviewed Grow Up, Timmy Turner, a 2011 direct-to-television sequel film about the early 2000s hit program, The Fairly Odd Parents. It's become one of my all-time favorite videos, and perhaps more importantly, it's by far the most popular review that I've ever made, with over 40,000 total views. And so, it's no surprise that the Christmas sequel, A Fairly Odd Christmas, is one of my most requested videos of all time. Some people even going as far as to promise me a viewing experience much worse than the original. And for me, this has always been something that's been kind of hard to imagine. Usually when I review something, despite how I initially feel about it, by the end I've usually built up some sort of respect for it. Grow Up, Timmy Turner isn't one of those films. I dislike it to the point that I pull amazing satisfaction from the fact that I never have to watch it again. And the sequel? It's worse? How could it possibly be worse? Spoilers, it isn't. The North Pole, and at the most festive time of the year, the point right before the holidays. We see the elves gathered around their leader himself, Santa Claus, who, I gotta say, is looking quite alright for a guy infamous for being out of shape. I guess that does fit with what we've previously seen of Santa in this universe. It is then that Santa is approached by a mysterious figure, the elf who makes the naughty list every year. He's rather moody, but to be fair, you'd be grumpy too if you were the only elf that actually looked like a fully grown adult. Think about how awkward Saturday nights have to be for that guy. Everything is going good and well for the old St. Nicholas until it turns out that several of the significant things listed on the good list are starting to disappear, as someone else is getting these kids the gifts that they want for Christmas.
Who's messing with my Christmas list?
Someone's been selling Christmas gifts on my street. I'm about to bust a cap in someone's candy cane sucking ass.
So then we get to catch up with everyone's favorite dream team, rocketing around in their Back to the Future candy van. Timmy Turner, played by Drake Bell of Drake and Josh fame, and Tootie Pikachit, played by Danielle Monette, who is most famous for playing Bertha in Fred 2, Night of the Living Fred, as well as Fred 3, Camp Fred. As you will recall, as we last left them, the pair had been gifted the return of their fairies, with the slight catch that they could only use their magical creatures to answer charitable wishes. And clearly both the writers and the main characters have decided to stretch the meaning of the word charitable as far as they possibly can. They give a middle-class suburban girl a monster truck, they turn a toy dinosaur into a giant Godzilla monster, no doubt causing millions of dollars worth of damages. They clear traffic up on a bridge. What happens to the cars when they do that? They make a bunch of fireworks go off for some girl and they trigger an eclipse. Then they turn desert into grasslands. And then they make the Leaning Tower of Pisa straight, which leads me to say a statement never beforehand uttered unironically by any human being. Remember when Superman 3 did this better? Most notably, they grant a child in a third world country the wish for a real-life unicorn, which is easily the most charitable thing that they do in the sequence, because it now means that her family has meat for the winter. And to top it all off, they grant the wish of two die-hard criminals for them to immediately have all of the goods that they were trying to steal. Yeah, so apparently, you doing work for charity means just Indiana Jonesing your way around the planet and answering pretty much any wish that you hear.
I wish I was watching a better movie.
So, a question I posed last time, how do these guys survive? Who pays for their food? Where do they get gas for the van? With their magic running low, they crash in Dimsdale and form indirect contact with the best character in this franchise, Crocker.
This is the work of Timmy Turner and his Very Good Band!
Alright, so that's still not funny, but other than that, I still think that Crocker's pretty good.
There's so many odd character moments in just this sequence alone that I found to be oddly charming. Like, there's this moment where it seems like they're setting up a really lame joke.
You know what I say about Christmas? Bah handbag!
But then the punchline is actually kind of funny in a classic Odd Parents kind of way.
That's because every year growing up, all Mother ever gave me for Christmas were women's handbags. She always knew I'd give them back to her.
It's honestly so extremely amusing that Crocker, of all people, would be skeptical of the mysticism surrounding Christmas.
Everyone knows there's no such thing as the North Pole or polar bears.
Tootsie and Tommy are just hanging out when they gain the attention of two elves whose names I'm not even gonna try and learn. They're just the elves. The male elf is wearing some sort of fedora elf cap, which of course is meant to represent his authority over all of the other elves. It's here we discover the biggest twist that this movie has to offer. That elves and fairies have quite the poor relationship.
Lousy, stinking fairies! Dirty, rotten elves!
Big nose, shifty I do!
So have they just forgotten that they're not supposed to be out in the open? I guess so, because Crocker blatantly sees the fairies battling and schemes about how he can sneak aboard their adventure. And also he kills a gingerbread cookie. That's just mean.
You're in big trouble, Timmy Turner!
That's not the title of the movie.
Tommy and the Tommyettes land in the North Pole where the Fairleys and the elves continue to fight.
What happened? This is supposed to be a time of peace and love.
They know what they did to us.
What we did!
What did they do? I kinda wanna know. What could they possibly have done? I feel like there's an answer, but I feel like it's not the answer they could say in a kid's movie.
Also, Crocker hid under the car and is attacked by a polar bear. No, for real, I'm not kidding. I unironically really love Crocker in this movie.
Ooh, time to use my patented Crocker blend-in technique. Yoink!
Crocker is one of those famously hilarious characters, and the actor in this honestly pulls him off so well that I kinda just wanted to see more of him and not less. And he's already in, like, most of the movie, so that is saying something.
Your ears look a little dull. Looks like we have to sharpen them.
So basically Santa's upset because Tommy has been doing such a bad job of giving people gifts that people have started to disappear off his nice list. Because of this, Santa has started to feel kind of useless and put aside.
They don't need me. Their names are disappearing from my nice list.
The specials in the final end of the fairy era tend to be a little too lost in their own universe, and so stories get to the point where it seems like something should represent a real-world parallel, but it doesn't.
With great power, and magical fairies do fall into that category, comes great responsibility.
Why'd you quote Spider-Man? That doesn't seem especially relevant.
It's funny because one of the elves is beating a child because of a deeply seated racial bias. So Santa then asks Tommy not to answer so many frivolous wishes so that the season of giving will feel a little more special. But when one of the machines goes off and Santa wishes for it to stop breaking down, Timmy's all like, "I got this!" And basically, he just blows everything up, knocking Santa into the machine.
Good Lord, Laura. Laura Palmer.
Santa Claus, are you hurt?
Santa Claus? Who's Santa Claus?
I'm the Easter Bunny.
Do you think this is the first thing that pops up on this guy's IMDb page?
Oh, it gets worse, guys. I think those are rabbit trappings.
Ha! Santa shit on the floor! Classic!
So yeah, Santa's crazy now. I guess we're gonna have to put off that moral speech for at least half an hour. And without any Santa to control the holidays, the entire North Pole starts shutting down. Jargon shows up and gives Tommy a Christmas present. It's the rules. The same thing he got Tommy for his birthday. What a fucking piece of shit.
I came here to inform you that you are, once again, in deep trouble.
You keep saying that like it's the title of the movie. It's not the title of the movie.
The godchild in question must assume the responsibilities of that icon until such time as the icon is able to perform again.
Okay, Jorgen. In English, please.
No, that was pretty clear. These films could probably be set in the same universe as the Tim Allen Christmas movies. So they get Santa's hat and they put it on Tommy so that he can be the new Santa. And this makes everything go smooth and clean for a while before it is revealed that Tommy can't be the Fairly Odd King Santa because he's also on the naughty list. And the only way to get Timmy's name taken off the naughty list is to go to the head grouchy elf from the start of the film to try and convince him to have Tommy Cunn's name taken off.
Or you could have someone kill Timmy and then they would be Santa.
Then Crocker shows up and says that he is also going to come along, and everyone's like, yeah, okay, you can be in the movie, I guess, whatever. And so the team starts off on their great perilous trek to find the great Elmer the Elf, to have Timmy removed from the bad list so he can take his rightful place as King Santa Elf Claus.
I wish you could wish for directions, but my wand is useless as Cosmo's invisibility helmet.
Wanda, I'm right here. She can't see me.
How come most of the things in this movie come across as improved, but the 3D effects honestly come across as much worse? They don't look like they were rendered for a movie, they look like they were rendered for a PS2 game.
You're so short you couldn't kick a flea's knees. Burn!
It's like the fairies themselves are written by a different group of people.
And then they discover their first horrific obstacle, a big rope that they have to get across by gliding across using their candy canes. Whoa, look at that GoPro action! Why did the fairies fall? They get to the bottom, they see a bunch of penguins, and they consider asking for directions.
Last I checked, penguins aren't very talkative.
Yeah, well last time I checked, penguins don't even live in the North Pole, so why don't you shut your bitch-ass little mouth, Dingle Day? Fuck, I learned his name!
Tootie speaks penguin. It's amazingly terrible. So then Timmy is trying to stop Crocker from dying. I wonder if it's surreal to go on an epic lifetime quest with your 5th grade teacher. It's probably more surreal if you purposely stayed in the 5th grade for 10 years. Anyways, the obvious punchline is that the cliff isn't as tall as it looks like it is, and everyone's fine.
Oh, it's been this cold since Mother locked in the meat freezer.
What?
Oh, it's been this cold since Mother locked in the meat freezer.
So Tommy and Crocker find a friendly village of gingerbread men who offer their assistance in the two crossing to Elmer's forest.
No one understands the value of friendship like a gingerbread man. Ginger Ed. Ginger Ned. And of course, Ginger Jed. He's eating me!
So yeah, all of the gingerbread men want to kill them now. I'm gonna be straight, this movie is great now. I love it a lot. So the two teams catch up with each other, and the elves and fairlies work together to hit the gingerbread men with so much snow that they retreat in fear, proving the two enemies, once opposed, can work together to form a more concentrated and direct line of genophobia. But time is running out, as Santa being gone from his throne creates an anti-holiday gloom that spreads all around the world and makes everyone extremely sad and unmotivated, with a disjointed disappointment for everything that they're supposed to enjoy.
Oh, so it's kind of like how I feel. All the time.
So they try to get across this bridge, and it gets broken, you know, as old bridges and old movies do. But they have to cross it anyways, because the gingerbread men come and try to kill them. But they get across, and they manage to get into the lair of Elmer the Elf, where they find it to be very difficult to convince him of their cause.
I see all, I know all. And for centuries I have decided who's naughty and who's nice. Sometimes I even decide who's just downright annoying.
That's what happened to Chloe.
Tommy learns that he is on the naughty list for granting requested wishes without considering the consequences of his decisions. It turns out that the third world child has been stuck in the air ever since her wish was granted. Meanwhile, the girl with the monster truck is doing just about everything that you're supposed to do with monster trucks. The dinosaur is destroying Tokyo, you know, that one was obvious. Also, the criminals with all the stuff that they gave them that was stolen still have all the stuff they stole. I don't know why that one's a shocker.
Trying to show off you knocked out Santa and endangered Christmas for billions of people.
It was an accident.
Was it, Timmy?
Yes.
Well, no, it was more me being stupid than an accident.
That's kind of what an accident is.
Here's a little pearl of wisdom for you. With magical powers come...
I know, great responsibility.
And so, Timmy learns a valuable lesson. But I didn't learn shit. What could I possibly have learned from that? When you deconstruct it, what is it about? Oh, Timmy gets people some wishes, he gets people some Christmas gifts, and they're the bad Christmas gifts, and that causes havoc. Where am I going to use that in life? Oh, maybe I shouldn't buy Tim this hand grenade. He has a self-destructive personality, and he might also take some other people out in the same instance that I'm imagining at the moment. No, that's never going to happen! I don't have magical fairies. So don't set it up like a big moment when this has no real-world application. I'm not nearly as mad as I'm pretending to be mad for comedic effects.
But then Crocker approaches Tommy and tells him that he shouldn't fret, and that he truly is a good person. And this touches his heart enough that Elmer has a change of thought and approaches them yet again.
The fact that Timmy Turner's kindness was able to touch Crocker's shriveled heart speaks volumes.
Bitch, you don't know me!
So without another moment to lose, the team rockets back to the North Pole and takes their places back as Santa and his jingle sluts. They weld the sleigh to the candy van and save Christmas. The next day, Santa is back to normal and everyone celebrates the success of their mission. Crocker flirts with one of the elves, who is played by a child, and it turns out that 2,000 years of racial tensions was caused by a neighborhood misunderstanding. Also, they never fixed any of the problems they made in the start of the movie. That third world country girl, she's probably gonna die.
I liked this. I don't need your permission to like something.
With all the recent viewings I've had to sit through recently of movies that I thought were the worst of the worst, Fairly OddParents reminded me of none of them. It barely even reminded me of the first one. If anything, it kind of struck me closest to The Legend of Frosty the Snowman, the third film I reviewed after I started my channel up again a year ago. A Fairly Odd Christmas isn't exactly the sort of content that I was keen on seeing back when I was into the franchise as a kid. It's a little misguided and there are some problems. But in the end, it did mainly just feel like another goofy Christmas movie that I probably would have totally loved growing up. There were a lot of jokes and moments in this movie that were executed very well, and while some things like the CGI and the writing for the Fairleys honestly come out even worse than in the first one, it's really the good stuff that manages to stick around in my mind the most.
So there we go, a movie which I gotta say I liked a lot more than I thought I would. I mean, I thought this was going to be a really painful experience, but actually it was pretty alright. What a good way to start out the year. Let's see if the next one is the stray bullet that finally kills my spirit for good.
He got into a drifted bank and then we got upside. Oh, jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in a one-horse open sleigh. Hey, jingle bells, jingle all the way.
Chester! It's me, Tommy!
No, that's impossible. You ceased to exist when Donald Trump became president.
That's right. I did cease to exist when Donald Trump became president. But I'm back. I'm back from ceasing to exist when Donald Trump became president.
Chester! 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 Chester!
What? You just like...